Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are perfectly audible.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to the first lecture of Mission Nyayadrishti Samvad, an ambitious marathon series of 100 online lectures initiated by the Department of Law, School of Legal Studies, Central University of Karnataka. This mission was formally inaugurated on 24th September by our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Bhattu Satyanarayan Sir, and Honorable Justice H.P. Sandesh Sir of High Court of Karnataka. The initiative is envisioned as a step toward expanding access to legal education in alignment with Vikshit Bharat 2047 and the Sustainable Development Goals. By inviting eminent scholars from India and abroad to share their expertise, this mission ensures accessible, inclusive, and equitable education for learners across the country. It is scheduled every Friday for the next 2 to 3 years. It seeks to bridge the gap between academia and learners, fostering dialogue, critical thinking, and global exposure. Today, we are truly privileged to begin this journey with Lecture 1, and I am delighted to introduce our distinguished resource person, Dr. Jayamal P.S. Ma'am. Ma'am obtained her BLLB degree from SDM Law College, Mangalore, and her LLM degree in Constitutional and Administrative Law from the University of Kerala, where she secured the third rank. She qualified the UGC NET in 2010 and went on to receive her PhD degree from Karnataka State Law University, Hubli, for her research on an evaluation of the enforcement mechanism under the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006 in ensuring safe and wholesome food. She began her academic career at Central Law College, Salem, Tamil Nadu, and is currently serving as an assistant professor of law at Vaikunta Baliga College of Law, Udupi. Her areas of interest include food safety law, labor law, constitutional law, administrative law, environmental law, and jurisprudence. Ma'am has coordinated several national and international seminars, presented papers at various prestigious conferences, and has published extensively in reputed journals. She is also the co-editor of two books, The Changing Scenario of Intellectual Property Rights and The Way Forward and Climate Justice in Warming World. In addition, she has completed a minor research project on the non-state justice system sponsored by Karnataka State Law University. With such an impressive academic and research background, Ma'am brings deep insights into today's lecture on the theme from farm to plate, safe food as a pathway to dignified life. We are honored to have her with us today. I warmly welcome you, ma'am. The session is now over to you.
Good evening, one and all present here. At the outset, thank you, madam, for providing such a wonderful introduction about me. I deem it as my privilege to be a part of this lecture series organized by Department of Law, Central University of Karnataka. The 100 lecture series under the mission Nyayadrishti Samvad. It will definitely going to create history in the academic world. And I am sure that it will create some different academic experience to the academic fraternity. And I take it as an honor and privilege to speak before such a distinguished gathering on a topic of profound legal and human relevance, that is from farm to plate, safe food as a pathway to dignified life. So I think my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible, ma'am.
Okay. So before moving on with the session, I would like to draw your attention to some paper reports that recently happened, 1 year before. So first of all, two important reputed masala brands of India, Everest and MDH, So that had been banned by Hong Kong and Singapore food regulators. And not only those countries, even from Dubai and some other foreign countries, they have banned those food products. And later, well, 6 months back, Vengi, a retailer, a chicken retailer, and they are the supplier of chickens to, this fried this American fried Kentucky chickens and all. So their their chicken, it was found. The report says the chicks that they are growing, in order to get early growth, they are injecting hormones to the chicks. So these two instances, it shows that, as per the medical reports, as per the data, all these things, it shows that these things, it creates so much of injury to the human health. So, as of this, with regard to the MDH and Everest food product, masala product, that is in the masala products, it had the cancerous substances included into that. And with regard to the Vengi product, no, the chicks, no, it had been injected with the hormones. So that is injurious to the human health. So the question before us, so the question raises here is, do we have a right to have dignity with regard to the, or how that dignity has been protected here with regard to the safe food? So that throughout this session, means the next few hours, we can discuss, or we will discuss with regard to that only. So moving on to the objectives of my presentation. One minute, it is not moving. Let me check. Shall I withdraw this and once again I will share, sir? I think some.
Yes, ma'am, you can withdraw. While selecting for screen sharing, you please select the Windows option.
Yes, sir. Windows option only I selected.
Okay, ma'am, you
Let,
please try
let,
once again.
let me check. Can you share from your side, sir? It is not moving from here.
Vasda, please try. Will it be possible from your side?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Move on to the next, madam. life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. So that procedure established by law that has been questioned under the Maneka Gandhi's case, and the court has given the wider interpretation. And the court has emphasized that the right to live means it is not mere animal existence. It is the right. It is the right to live with dignity. Then again, that dignity that has been emphasized in Francis Corrali Mullin versus Administrator, Union Territory of Delhi. So, what type of existence that is? It is not like animal existence. So then, it is not like a luxurious life or something like that. It is the bare necessities of the life that is to be guaranteed under that. So that is what in Francis Corrali Mullin's case, the Supreme Court has emphasized. Then coming to People's Union for Democratic Rights versus Union of India, this is everyone knows it is commonly known as the Ashad case. So in this case, the Supreme Court, the question before the court was with regard to the basic minimum wages that is to be given to the Ashad workers. So the court said even the dignified life that can be ensured only through offering the basic minimum wages to the workers. So that again in that the dignified life that is guaranteed through the minimum wages. So that also has been included under the stream of dignified life by the Supreme Court. So that again in PG Gupta versus State of Gujarat, the court has reiterated that the right to education, right to food, right to shelter, all such things, all other bare necessities of the life that comes under the term right to life, and that can only guarantee a dignified life. Then comes the Kabila Hingori versus State of Bihar. So here in this case, the court said that. So we know that in Tetla municipality case, the Justice Krishna Iyer has given as a part of the judicial activism court, the Justice Krishna Iyer, he has given an interpretation to with regard to the state's role. Justice Krishna Iyer said the financial deficiency, it shall not be a reason for the state's inefficiency. So that the state cannot raise such an excuse for inefficiency or non-enforcement of the things. So likewise in Kabila Hingorani versus State of Bihar, the court said, by saying or by hiding under the financial difficulties, financial stringency, the state cannot escape. So that the state cannot enforce the right to, they cannot say excuse with regard to the non-enforceability by saying that there is financial stringency in the system. Madam, next. Now let us move on to the dignified life. So dignified life, it is in the form of, we know that it comes under the right to life, so that there is we can see an interconnection of right to life, right to health, right it forms it so that right to food, that will be a denial, or that will be harming the right to health. So that in the non-access to food or less access to food, it will lead to many other health problems, health issues. So that the malnutrition and the other types of less nutrition, that nutritious food, that will lead to the health impairment. So that health is also connected to right to food. So these two rights, as I have already mentioned, these are not enumerated right, but the court has through many decisions put it under the reservoir of Article 21, and now these are all coming under. It is a major factor that leads to the dignified life. So that these three, this connection, it leads to the right to life. So the right to life that is guaranteed under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Next. Yeah, in this decision, Occupational Health and Safety Association versus Union of India, the Supreme Court has made it clear that the right to health and clean environment flows directly from Article 21. So that here again, the Supreme Court has given more importance to the right to health and the right to clean environment, and by relying on that, the Supreme Court said that right to health and clean environment flows directly from Article 21. So that again, from where the Supreme Court has taken up all these rights. The roots are there in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So UDHR 1948, and after that, in the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. So that even CEDAW is the International Convention for the Elimination of all discrimination against women, and International Convention for the Rights of the Children. See, all these international conventions, it has emphasized the right to dignity. So in the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, it says that the right to food, housing, education, work, fair wages, and health, all these converge under the umbrella of the right to live with dignity. So that right to livelihood or the right to live with dignity, these are all the root of all these rights we can find in these international conventions. Then there comes the World Food Summit in Rome, that is happened in the year 1996. So this food, it is also known as the Food Summit. So till that time, right to food was only a slogan. So from there onwards, right to food, it became, or it is made as a right. So that means the all other civilized states, they started using it as a right. So far it has been only it was a slogan. So through this Rome Declaration, the right to the right to food has been given, or it is upheld as a right. Please move on to the next. Now let us see the justifiability of the right to food. So that right is there. So without enforceability, the right would be meaningless. So that in this particular maxim, that everyone knows that particular maxim would be be remedium. So that it says that where there is a right, there is a remedy. So that is true. That German philosopher Immanuel Kant, he has defined that justiciability as the power to award to each person that which is due to him under the law. So that according to Kant, what is justifiable is like the right would be meaningless without that enforceability. So in the case of right to food, when it is not enforceable, it is meaningless. So that in People's Union for Civil Liberties versus Union of India and others, so this is known as the right to food case. So first ever, the Supreme Court has given the food as the position of, or it is elevated to the position of a right, and declared that the right to food is an enforceable right, and if there is any lack of or denial of access to right to food, the people have the recourse, so they can approach the courts. Then Center for Public Interest Litigation versus Union of India and others. So in this particular case, this is a landmark case with regard to right to food, and of course with regard to right to safe food. So Supreme Court held that a paramount duty is cast on the states and its authorities to achieve an appropriate level of protection to human life and health, which is a fundamental right guaranteed to the citizens under Article 21, read with Article 47 of the Constitution of India. So in this, that as I have told, in this particular case, this is a landmark case with regard to right to safe food. So the court has said that right to food means that includes even right to safe food also. So in that way, that interpretation has been given by the court in this case. Can we move on to the next? So that right, dignity, dignified life, and with regard to the justifiability of the right to life, right to food, it is clear. Now let us move on to the next important concept, that is food and unsafe food. So what is food? So that question that everyone knows what is food. So that it is essential for the existence of the human beings. So the very survival of the human beings, it depends on the availability of the food. So availability of sufficient amount of safe and nutritious food is essential to sustain life and promoting good health. So without getting these availability and accessibility to food, the human life would be miserable. Not only human life, the any living creatures, it would be difficult. Can we move on to? So now let us move on to the definition of the term food. So what actually, so meaning of the term food everyone knows. Then what is the definition that is given by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India with regard to the term food? So that this definition given under the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, it is of two, it can be divided into two. It is a comprehensive definition is relating to the term food, and so that it can be divided into two, that inclusive part and the exclusive part. So that inclusive part, it says any substance processed, unprocessed, partly processed. So this unprocessed, and partly processed, it can be termed as the cooked food, non-cooked food, or partly cooked food. Then primary food. So that in its original form, in its natural form, food is that also included under the term food. Then genetically modified or engineered food, or food with modified ingredients. Food even the bottled form, alcoholic drink, chewing gum, and water used for the preparation of food. See, all those items of all those categories of food, things, it comes under the term food. Then certain things have been excluded. That is animal feed, the living animals and plants before harvesting. So after harvesting only it will come under that primary head and it will become a food. So that in its primitive form, like in the sense of before harvesting, it will be food. Then drugs, medicinal products, cosmetic drugs, narcotic or psychotropic things, it will not come under the term food. So that given under the standard, and it has included everything, aspects of things as food. Can you move on to the next? Now the term unsafe food. So it is also defined under the Food Safety and Standards Act, Section 3, Clause 1Z. It defines the term unsafe food. So that food may be unsafe. Also, when can we say that food is unsafe? Food become unsafe due to its nature, quality, and substance. So that may be due to many reasons. Sometimes due to the packaging, sometimes food with a dirty substance, sometimes food will be contaminated with pesticides, or sometimes it will be during its processing time, it will be in under unhygienic conditions, or sometimes it will be added with some cheaper substances or addition of coloring matter other than permitted. When here it means the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, it has permitted certain levels of contamination, some certain levels of addition. So when it is more than that, it will make the food unsafe. Then addition of any ingredient or extraneous matter, then food misbranded or substandard, then addition of any ingredient which is not permitted. So these are the things that makes. So then the question is, what is meant by then safe food? Safe food means when a person, when he consumes a food, which it will not make him a patient, or it will not make him, it will not be injurious to his health. So that in this modern world, that unsafe food is it is very common, because the modern world has made the food very cheaper. The production of food, it is very easy and very cheaper. So that along with that, the unsafety or the unsafe food, it became rampant. Can you move on to the next? So the real meaning of the term food safety, here it comes. So food safety is the assurance that food will not cause any harm to the consumer when it is prepared or eaten according to its intended use. And then access to safe and sufficient amount of quality food is a human necessity and is a part of right to life. So access to food, and at the same time access to safe food, it is coming under Article 21 of the. Can we move on to the next? Now let us move on to the gravity of the issue. So here gravity of the issue means due to the unsafe food. So here again the question that we have posed in the beginning, that it is there. So that gravity of the issue, what will be the impact of all this food that is unsafe? So that it is the World Health Organization report is that as per that 600 million cases of foodborne diseases that occurs every year, and 1 in 10 million people falling ill due to unsafe food, and children under the age of 5 years, means it children and aged people, they are more vulnerable to this foods unsafe food. So they are under the, so that under the age of children under the age of 5 years, they carry that 40% of the foodborne diseases. And moreover, it there 1 lakh 25,000 for 25,000 deaths occur every year due to these foodborne diseases. Then, other than that, apart from all these, the chronic lifestyle diseases, heart diseases, respiratory diseases, and cancer. These are all the outcomes of the consumption of unsafe food. So here in this context, we should understand what is happening around us. So that in 2013, in the state of Bihar, almost 23 students died because of the midday meal served in the school. So that it has contaminated with the pesticides. So as a result of that, 23 students, it has taken the life of almost 23 students. And recently in Karnataka, in a residential school hostel, 18 students were fell ill due to the contamination of some poison. And apart from that, everyone will be knowing the Maggie dispute. So Maggie, it is the international Nestle, that is an international tycoon. So that company, their product Maggie, and everyone knows about Maggie because it is very easy to cook. And as a means the Maggi product, it is available all over India. So in the middle of in Mumbai, in Maharashtra, food safety officers, they have found out the contents of lead. Lead is permitted as per the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India because it adds as a preservative. So the more than the permitted level, almost 10,000 times the contents of lead, it is found out in the Maggi product. And even that as a result of that, the food safety officers, they have recalled the product and it has been incinerated through the industries. So that particular incident, it was very sensational throughout India. And likewise, everywhere, means every day we can find out one or the other instances of unsafe food. So that whatever we buy from outside, that can be any fruits, vegetables, or groceries, whatever may be. So everything is contaminated with one sort of or other contaminants. So that it is so see, with regard to the groceries, with regard to dal, all such things, it is added with some sort of colors. And with regard to fruits, apple, for example, apple is in order to make it farm fresh or to look fresh, it is added with a paraffin. And when we are not peeling the skin of apple, when we are eating that, when we are not knowing that we are going to be sick, then these are all cancerous substances. Then when we buy food from outside, from the hotels, when we eat food, the color that is added to these food products, synthetic colors. So all those things, it causes illness, or these are all makes us ill that we are not knowing. So can you move on to the next? Right to safe food, that under the auspice of instrumentalities of United Nations, like World Health Organization, Food and Agricultural Organization, World Trade Organizations. These are all organizations. They are working. Along with the other reasons, they are working for the food safety also. So along with that, the Sustainable Development Goals, that is taken up by the United Nations, and it is to be achieved by 2030. So certain goals under that, so especially goals, Sustainable Development Goal 2, 3, 12, and 17. So it focuses mainly for the protection of the good food, or with regard to the food safety. So SDG 2, it is comprehensive and addresses the problem of hunger, poverty, and it says that eradication of poverty is the main objective of that goal. And when it comes to Sustainable Development 3, it focuses on healthy lives and promoting well-being for all ages. Then well-being that can be attained only through the good food, good health, and healthy life. Then when it's coming to SDG 12, it deals with the sustainable consumption and production patterns. Then section, Sustainable Development Goal 17, it deals with the implementation, international cooperation, so that global food safety or the food safety can be achieved. Only through that global partnership, because food crosses the borders, and even in the international level, it cannot be compartmentalized within a particular country. It may contaminate, so that is the reason it may cross the borders. So that is the reason why international cooperation is essential with regard to the with regard to the prevention of food safety illnesses. Then the first international food safety conference that happened in Addis Ababa in the year 2019. So with the objective of solve food safety issues prevailing at present and tackle the future issues globally. So this the target of this particular convention was to take up the sustainable development goals and to make them to achieve it within 2030. Can we move on to the next? Yeah. While moving back to India, the legal framework in India with regard to the food safety. So first of all, the Constitution of India, the constitutional framework that we have discussed already, along with Article 21, Directive Principles of State Policy are there, Article 39E, 39F, and 47 of the Indian Constitution. It indirectly supports the food safety and safe food and the food and access to food. And moreover, the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita 2023, then Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954, it has been repealed, and a new act. It came in the year 2006, that is the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. Now, this is the only uniform law that is with regard to ensuring food safety in India. So that it has prescribed scientific standards for the food safety, and it is to achieve the international standards. So with that objective, that particular act has been enacted, and along with that, the Consumer Protection Act, International Standardization Act. So there are many legislations that is there to mainly that is Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. Along with that, other legislations, other statutory protection is also there with regard to food safety in India. Next. Well, coming to the food safety management system in India, as we have discussed, Food Safety and Standards Act 2006 is the main act, and under that there is a statutory body that is established, so that the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, that is responsible for the Food Safety and Standards Rules 2011, and under that there are regulations, 32 regulations that is given, so that Food Safety and Standards regulations, it is there, so that this is the overall food safety management system in India. Then whatever other mechanisms or the other procedures that comes under this only. Next. So the main objective of this food safety regulatory mechanism in India, so that it is already mentioned in the preamble of the Food Safety and Standards Authority of Food Safety and Standards Act 2006, so that it has to be in par with Indian food standards. It should be in par with the international standards. So for that purpose, the Codex Alimentarius would Codex is there. So the Codex is the international standardization with regard to the food safety, so that they prescribe certain norms, certain standards, so that India, as per the FSSAI, it strives to achieve those standards in the international level. So that in the otherwise, what will happen? So in the beginning we have discussed about the MDH and with regard to the Everest. So that same thing, that the Indian food products, it will be rejected in the international market if we are not coming up or we are not coping up with the international standards. So that under the WTO, so under the trade organization, we have the sanitary and phytosanitary measures and technical barriers to trade agreements. Sanitary and phytosanitary measures, So that is a little bit difficult to achieve because there are certain standards prescribed by them. So that standards it is little bit difficult to achieve. So that is with regard to the food safety parameters. And while coming to the technical barriers to trade agreements, that is closely, everyone knows, that is closely related to the compliance with the trade agreements. So that India, under the FSSAI, we are trying hard to be I mean, by complying with the codex rules, norms, we are trying to be in par with the international standards. Can we move on to the next? Then comes the Indian food safety system, how it works. It works mainly based on the risk analysis, risk assessment, risk communication, and risk management. So this is the main area in which the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India it works. So that risk analysis, first analysis, assessment, communication, and management. So that everything that we can see under that hazard analysis and critical control point. So this is the way Indian food management system works. So hazard analysis and critical control point. So that along with that, there will be good manufacturing practices and good hygiene practices that is prescribed by the World Health Organization. In par with all these things, by adopting the risk analysis, risk assessment, and risk communication and risk management, India works under the hazard analysis and critical control point. Can we move on to the next? So the question is with regard to the journey of food from farm to plate. So that so in the definition we have seen that the food is even from the very beginning of the harvesting, food is included. Primary food is included under the under the definition of the term food. So that it is a long chain. So in this chain of process, in each and every step, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India is there as a is monitoring, or it is regulating the entire journey. So that from farm to till it reaches the consumers, there are several steps. So that from the farm it is to be processed, and it is to be packed, and it is to be transported, and it is to be retailers, it is to be handed over to the retailers, and from there the consumers have to purchase, and they have to cook, and they have to consume it. So that it is a long chain, and this entire chain, that there are chances that at any point of time the food may get contaminated, or it may get polluted. So that at any threat is there in every point. So that the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, it watches, or it like a watchdog, it regulates each and every aspect of this food chain. Can we move? National Food Control System, how it is to be worked. So in India, as per under the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, the National Food Control System, it works in this way. So that there will be food laws and regulations. Under that, food control management is there, and food inspection should be there. So that inspection, it is prescribed by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. So there are it is a 3-tier mechanism, it is prescribed. So that under the central level, there will be Food Safety and Standards Authority will be there, Authority of India will be there, and in the state level there will be food safety commissioners, and in the local level, in the district level, there will be designated officers and food safety officers will be there. So in that 3-tier system, it is prescribed for the for the surveillance of the food safety system, food safety management system in India. Then food control laboratories. So the act itself is prescribed for the food control laboratories. So that laboratories within the standards that are prescribed by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, it is to be established. Then food safety and quality information, education and communication. So as per the provisions of the Food Safety Act, the common people, they have to be given awareness, they have to be educated with regard to the food safety system that is prevailing in the country. So for all those purposes, food safety has the responsibility to give awareness. And of course, along with that, there will be penalties and procedures. It is prescribed by the Act. So all these, so Indian food control system, national food control system, it works along with all these system, all these machineries. We'll move on to the next. Yeah. So how this food safety and standards authority of India has to work? It has to specify the regulations, standards, and guidelines prescribing the additive, then contaminants, pesticide, residues. See, all those things that has to be prescribed by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. What is the level to be added? What should be the standard of the contaminants? So all such things. Then how with regard to the GM food, the genetically modified food, it is prohibited, but it is a food. It is defined under the food as a food, but it is prohibited in India. So with regard to all such things, each and every step, food authority has to work. And with regard to the establishment of the laboratories, notification of the laboratories, how the samples has to be taken, what should be the qualification of the food safety officers, what should be the qualification of the designated officers. So likewise, each and every step, food authority has to act. So they have so much of responsibilities to do in this food chain. So that food safety, they have to survey the enforcement and administration of the Food Safety and Standards Act. Review process is there. At the same time, they can recall the food products if it is not conducive to the market. That is what we have seen with regard to the Maggie incident. Then see, with regard to all such, with regard to all these ways, the FSSAI has to act and it has to regulate the food safety management system in India. Next. Now, let us move on to the judicial approach. So, judicial approach to unsafe food. So, we have seen what is unsafe food. So, what are all the measures that is to be taken with regard to to ensure the safety of the food? So, what is the approach of the judiciary? Of course, judiciary has to do a lot more. And while going through these decisions, you can see that in all these decisions, the judiciary has given, or the judiciary has showed an activistic role. But in certain cases, with regard to certain other aspects, with regard to the enforcement matters and all those things, the judiciary was little reluctant to act. But certain cases in which the judiciary has given more activistic role, that is being given here. Then Center for Public Interest Litigation versus Union of India and others. This is the case that I have earlier I have discussed this case, and I said this is one of the most important case law relating to the food safety. So that in this case, the question before the court was with regard to the soft drinks and other junk foods that are used by the youth, because nowadays youth and other kids, children, they are more vulnerable to these soft drinks and all. So soft drinks and all, it is contaminated with certain things that is injurious to the health. So that was the main question before the court in this case, and the court held that any food article which is hazardous or injurious to the public health is a potential danger to the right to life guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. So a paramount duty is cast on the states and its authorities to achieve an appropriate level of protection to human life and health, which is a fundamental right guaranteed to the citizens under Article 21. So that responsibility the court has given it to the state. It is the duty of the state to see that food safety is not threatened, or the people are getting good food or the safe food. So in that way, court has given that interpretation, and court has brought it under the umbrella of Article 21. Then State of Uttar Pradesh versus Kartar Singh. So that here the question was with regard to right to freedom to carry out trade or business. So the court has, without any, undoubtedly the court said nobody can assert any fundamental right under Article 19, Clause 1 of the Constitution of India to carry out business in adulterated foodstuff. So, okay, freedom of trade is there, but it is not with regard to the adulterated foodstuff. So that adulterated foodstuff, it injures the health of the human beings. That is against the right to life, and that is against the right to dignity of a human being. So that it shall not happen. Then, please move on to the next. Then. The Association of the Traders Carrying the Food Business of Various Food Items, represented by Kiranvarshi Gada and others versus Union of India and others. So this case is with regard to in this case, the constitutional validity of the Food Safety and Standards Authority Standards Act itself has been challenged. So the court said that means after going through almost all the provisions of the Food Safety Act that has been challenged in this case, saying that it is against the constitutional mandate, but means mandate of Article 14 and 19. But the court said that after going through the entire, the court has vehemently discussed about each and every aspects of the, case. Food Safety and Standards Act, and for the researchers and for the law students, this is very good piece of judgment with regard to the for knowing more about the much about the Food Safety Act. So the court said that no, the provisions of the Food Safety Act, it is in tune with the constitutional provisions, and there is no need to struck down any of the provisions of the Constitution, the Food Safety and Standards Authority Standards Act 2006. Then Uday Foundation for Congenital Defects and Rare Blood Groups versus Union of India. This is the case with regard to junk foods in the schools. So the court has showed again an activistic role, and court said near to the vicinity of the schools, these junk foods have to be prevented. So that in this case also the court has discussed vehemently with regard to the provision, each and every provisions of the act. So the court has prevented the junk food outlets near to the schools. Then the next is with regard to the milk adulteration, Swami Achyutanand Tirth and others versus Union of India. So this is the case in which we know that nowadays milk is India is not self-sufficient with regard to the production of milk, but milk is a necessary thing element in every household. And even for the sick, and even for the infants, and even for the aged, everyone they are using this milk. But the milk is adulterated with a detergent and several other things, so that is injurious to the human beings. So that has been, in this case, the court has given stricter guidelines with regard to the milk adulteration. Then registered organization of modern. This is an interesting case with regard to the religious practices. So, with regard to the Christian community, they have in the church they have offerings like as a part of their sacrament, the priest has to offer wine and bread to the believers. So while doing so, the saliva droplets, it will contaminate from one person to another. So that was the main question before the Kerala High Court in this case. But the court held that court has showed its reluctance to interfere into that matter, because it is relating to the religious practices and all other things. Nothing other things involved into that. So by saying that, the court has showed its reluctance to interfere into that matter. Then Taban Kumar's Sadhukan versus Food Corporation of India and others. This is with regard to the direction that is issued to the state governments in the food go downs. The state has to ensure good food. That we have Food Security Act in order to ensure the food accessibility. So while then in every ration shops, subsidized foods are available in order to ensure the food security. So for doing so, the state governments in the food go downs, they will keep the food grains. So that should be of good conditions. That is what the court said in this case. Then Damdev Food Products versus State of Gujarat. The court has reiterated the fact that food safety is one of the most important facts coming under the Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. So that is upheld by the court in this case. So these are certain cases in which the court has brought and the court has again upheld the constitutional validity and even the inclusion of right to safe food under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Now let us move on to the challenges that are coming front. Can you move on to the next? So with regard to the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, there are many challenges, and the main challenges with regard to the implementation side. that people are low consumer awareness about food rights and legal remedies. So when a study, it is revealed that when a study conducted by an NGO, it is revealed that in India, even among the educated people, they are unaware of the existence of this Food Safety Act. So most of the people, they knows about the Food Adulteration Act, but they are aware of that repealment of that act and the existence of the new act. And even with regard to the households and even among the common people, they are not knowing about the existence of this particular act. So in order to ensure the food safety, then ineffective enforcement and absence of that enforcement mechanism. Three-tier mechanism is prescribed by the Act, and strict enforcement mechanisms are prescribed by the provisions of the Act, but in effect, it is not properly done. So that the provincial courts are prescribed by the Act, but no courts have been constituted so far. Karnataka. So ineffective enforcement mechanism, it is one of the major drawback with regard to this act. Then lack of robust grievances redressal. So the victims' grievances, it is not been, every day the people are one or the other ways, they are the victims of the unsafe food. So that their redresses, it is not being properly redressed. So that ADM is given the power of, that is delegated officer, he has been given the power of, taking up the cases, but the people are not, bit reluctant, and even with regard to the cases, it is not, there is no speedy disposal of cases, it is not being done in the cases of food safety. Can we move on to the next? So now let us conclude by saying that ensuring safe food from farm to plate is not just a public health obligation. So that it is, even though right to food is there, it ensures the dignity, and at the same time, right to food, it includes right to safe food also. So that the journey from the journey of the food from farm to plate, it is a long process, and even anywhere in that chain, if it something happens, that the health of the people, it will be under stake. And it is against the dignity, that principle that is enshrined under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. So it is not just a public health obligation. So it is a constitutional promise. It is to be ensured that this promise is fulfilled. So with that, so that we started with that question: do we have what is the in India? How we have to comply with that dignity through the safe food, so that food safety constitutional mechanism is there, constitutional mandate is there, along with that judiciary is there, and along with that there is statutory protection which is given, so that in order to ensure the dignity of the people, in order to ensure the right to life of the people, so in that way it can be ensured.
Ma'am, good evening.
Good evening, tell me.
Ma'am, first of all, I would like to for giving us brief. Thank you so much for your thought-provoking session, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a simple question, ma'am. There is something called cross-contamination and food safety. So can you highlight on that, ma'am, please?
Cross-contamination in the sense when there are usually when it is through one contamination, when it is when it contaminates the food, that the food become unsafe. So when there are multiple things that which contaminates the food, that is that leads to the, or that increases the gravity of that unsafe, food unsafe, or the food will become unsafe. So that is called cross contamination. Two things, the two elements that makes the food more unsafe. So that it addresses well in the Food Safety Act.
Yes, ma'am. And very recently we had a issue with relating to banning of gobi and that candy.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you tell me how far it is relevant and what is the role of Food Safety Authority on this, ma'am? Thank you so much.
See, with regard to gobi, as per my information, which is in state of Goa, they have prohibited the gobi, and in Karnataka it is not yet implemented because it is still in the hotels. It is available. So that why gobi is not the gobi Manchurian is not the problem. That it is added with a certain flavor, certain colors, synthetic colors. That is even along with that kebab. I mean, that is available in the hotels and all those. We know everyone, even we adults, we are fond of that things. So that the color that is added with that meat or with the gobi, that is the real problem, synthetic colors. So that is to be prohibited. So that FSSA, that regulatory agency, it has a role to regulate all such things. And they have to, means their role when you are asking, it is to be, as I said, it is to be enforced through the food safety officers. They have to do proper inspection and they have to see that when it is prohibited, it is not available in the market.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for your highlighting answer, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Is there any other question? No, my session was mainly highlighting on the dignified life by emphasizing on the food safety. That's all. So I think there are no other questions.
Ma'am, one question is in the chat box asked by Sandhya. The question is, there are many harmful food products being marketed and sold by companies. Why the government not taking strict action against such products, and what was the legal remedies available for that?
No, that is what I have throughout my presentation. I said in this session, I was discussing that only. So in India, the only regulatory agency with regard to this food products, that is Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, coming under the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. So earlier it was Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. Now it has been repealed by this FSSA Act. So through this act, the mechanism provided under the statutory body, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. So it has a three-tier mechanism. It prescribes in the central level, it is FSSAI, and the state, it is Food Safety Commissioner, and under the local level and under the district level, it is the designated officers and food safety officers. So they have to act well. So actually, the cases that are means everyone knows, it is a common knowledge that nowadays everywhere, whatever the food that we are eating, I mean, there will be something in that contaminated things. It will be there, but most of the things it is not reported, and the things which are reported also it is hushed up somewhere. So all the food safety officers, they are not. They have to do the inspections in every hotels, restaurants, and even street food vendors and all such things, but it is not being done properly. That is the main enforcement delay with regard to the Food Safety Act. Is there anything else?
No, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Hello.
Tell me, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Ma'am, I have a question that in India, the food security checks and the food security checks are very far behind with the comparison of European countries. Like in the case of Pediasure, food which we give to the child is between early ages have a high sugar in comparison of European countries. Why it is a huge difference between
Sir? No, I think sir's question, Anjaney sir's question is something relating to the Pediasure. So he is asking about the, one thing I should tell you, sir, Food Security Act is different, Food Safety Act is different. Food security, that ensures that access to food, access to food that is ensured through the Food Security Act. Food safety is with regard to, entirely with regard to that farm to plate chain. So your question is with regard to the excess sugar. No, that is what I heard. I do not know. So it is with regard to the excess sugar that is found in Pediasure, that product. That is what I heard. So excess sugar, it is the permitted sugar levels for everything. That standard is prescribed by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. And I mean, for everything, regulations are there with regard to the licensing, with regard to the registration, with regard to regulation of junk foods, with regard to the permission of synthetic color. See, for everything is that everything is there, but not enforcing properly. So that is the problem. So if it is, I mean, the sugar content or the sugar level, it is more than the prescribed level. I mean, of course, the FSSAI can take action, but at the same time, we should. The labeling is prescribed with every product. So that labeling as per the labeling regulation, it says that what are all the ingredients that are used in that product, and it should be specifically mentioned in the label, so that even with regard to the calorie that is used, it is used, that is to be mentioned, so that while taking the product itself, while buying the product itself, we can check out all such things. No, I think. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. I hope no questions are left. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an insightful presentation. Of Law, Central University of present here. I extend our heartfelt gratitude to you, ma'am. Your presentation not only highlighted the constitutional dimensions of food safety, but also offered valuable insights into the judicial approach and the pressing challenges that demand our urgent attention. The way you linked the concept of safe food to a dignified life has truly inspired and enriched all of us today. I also extend my heartfelt gratitude to Jayanta sir and all the participants for their support and active involvement. Your presence and enthusiasm have made the first lecture of Mission Nyayadrishti Samvad a remarkable and memorable beginning. Now, I request all the participants, please fill the feedback form. It is given in the chat box. With this, we conclude today's session. Thank you once again, ma'am. We eagerly look forward to your continued engagement with Department of Law, Central University of Karnataka. Thank you once again, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you to Jain sir also, and I wish all the best to the university's attempt of this 100 lecture series. And as I mentioned in the beginning, like I'm sure that it will become or it will create history. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Shall I leave?
Thank you, madam.
फीडबैक फॉर्म नहीं मिल रहा, कहाँ पर है feedback?
चैट बॉक्स में देखो, मिल जाएगा।